In California, the death penalty was changed to banishment. Transgressors are sent to an island until the end of their lives. There, they face a fate that's heavier than their own demise in the mainland. A TV show covers Terminal Island 9 months after it was legalized. The director together with the hosts choose specific transgressors to sensationalize their coverage and gain viewers. The director enters the studio and asks the progress of their coverage about Terminal Island. The female host presents him with their past footage. The female host shows the most controversial detainees in the island to pique viewers' interest, and the three choose who will be featured, especially with Carmen Sims, who's recently sentenced to be sent to the island. Afterward, Carmen gets transported to Terminal Island in a small boat. The cop who accompanies her reads her sentence and asks her to sign as legally dead. She refuses to sign, but the cop still hands her the paper, so she crumples it and throws it to the sea, which makes her spot a floating body of a detainee. As soon as she walks on the shore, she sees another corpse. She disregards it and goes on her way to get settled to her new life. Before the sun sets, she collects woods and camps near the shore. When she fails to light a fire to heat her canned meal, she notices a man watching her. She threatens him with her axe, but the man ignores her and sits on a rock near her. He asks her name and introduces himself as Milford, who used to be a doctor. Carmen asks the whereabouts of the others and Milford answers everyone has seen her arrive. He adds that there are about 40 of them now, but they were 75 before. Carmen asks how many women there are and the doctor answers that there's not enough. She inquires if the bodies she found were eliminated, and Milford answers annoyedly that he doesn't know since everyone in the island are known to be slayers, except for him. He declares that he's innocent and Carmen mocks him. The following day, she explores the island and finds the inhabitants' dwelling. Bobby, who eliminated his robbery partner, and his right-hand man, Monk, excitedly talk about the new woman. Then, Carmen walks into the area and all men's eyes are on her. 3 women walk out of their hut to look at her while Bobby commands Monk to break her in. The burly man approaches her and touches her inappropriately, to which she resists in vain. She asks for help and no one moves. Monk overpowers her and steps on her head while she lies on the ground. Carmen cries in despair and spits at Monk while the girls return to their hut as if nothing happened. Afterward, Bobby commands Monk to order everyone to get to work and leaves. That evening, the women arrive at their hut and see Carmen sleeping on the makeshift bed. Bunny, who eliminated her parents with an ice pick, drags the newbie by the leg. Joy, who poisoned her husband, stops Bunny and explains that the corner she's sleeping on is Bunny's. Carmen spitefully walks out of the hut, but she's pushed back by 2 guards outside. She complains about how the women are treated, and Lee, who blew up a bank and ended 2 people's lives, explains that they are the men's properties, so they don't have a say on anything. Carmen asks who's in charge and Lee answers it's Bobby and Monk. Upon knowing, Carmen proclaims she's going to end those 2 and threatens Bunny not to lay a hand on her or else she'll end her life too. However, Joy simply mocks her threats. The next day, the women help with the soil plowing and are treated like animals who can't rest nor drink. Carmen asks Lee why nobody stood up against Bobby and the others. Lee explains that those who did either passed away or fled. Meanwhile, a tired Joy asks for a drink from Bobby's man, but he spits on her instead. Chino approaches her and gives her water, but the other man scolds him, stirring up a fight. Abruptly, Bobby and his men arrive and stop the fight. The leader then orders the woman to build a storehouse. That afternoon, while the women and men build the storehouse, Carmen approaches Lee and shows her injured hand. So, Lee calls for Milford, but before the doctor can bandage her, Monk demands them to continue working. When evening falls, Monk informs the women who they're assigned to pleasure for the night. Carmen asks why Bunny isn't assigned anyone, and Joy explains that the lady is exclusively Bobby's. Soon after, Bunny goes to Bobby's hut and obeys his every command. The following morning, while the women serve food, a detainee accidentally topples his food at the person behind him. A fight instantly breaks out and the man is beaten to death as Bobby watches for entertainment. Afterward, the body is thrown off the cliff like trash. Then, the women are tasked to wash the clothes by the river. They are commanded to hurry as the men who were banished from Bobby's territory might arrive to claim them. Curious, Carmen asks Joy if Bunny has ever talked, and the widower explains that the lady stopped talking after ending her parents' lives. Unbeknownst to them, the banished men, headed by AJ and Cornell, are spying on them. After some time, they attack the guards and successfully take the women. Carmen resists, but Joy explains it's all right to come with them, so they all hurry to escape. That evening, the banished men and the women share dinner equally. Dylan, who's interested in Joy, inappropriately touches the lady, but she shuns her off and plays with another man, Easy, in front of everyone. When everyone sleeps, Joy shares an intimate moment with Easy, but Dylan follows them and attacks the man. Once he's unconscious, he turns to Joy to try and force himself on her. The woman fights him off and her screams awaken the others, who rush to her to save her. The next morning, the group begins to run again. deciding to split into two while the women can tag along. Carmen spitefully declares that she won't be caged by anyone, so AJ, who ended a cop's life, clarifies that living alone is impossible. Lee criticizes the way the banished men live and declares she wants to end Bobby's life. For revenge, AJ argues with her, pointing out how outnumbered they are, but Lee emphasizes that once the snake head is gone, the body will also perish. In the end, the group splits into two. Afterward, Joy and Easy practice archery while AJ and Carmen get to know each other, ending their pleasant talk with a kiss. On the other hand, Bobby seethes in anger upon the loss of the women. Meanwhile, Easy teaches Joy about the bees in the wild, and the woman uses the knowledge to her advantage. She then purposely seduces Dylan and tricks him to allow her to spread honey on his back. Because of this, the bees angrily chase him and he rushes to the river for dear life. While Joy laughs mockingly, suddenly, Bobby's men attack them, but AJ and Cornell smartly strategize with traps and one-on-one combat which help them escape. Monk returns to the base camp and reports to Bobby what happened. Since a comrade was stabbed, AJ courageously returns to Bobby's camp to take Dr. Milford to cure the wounded. Simultaneously, Carmen shares an intimate moment with Cornell. Unfortunately, even with Milford, their comrade passes away. The following day, Lee and Carmen convince Cornell to fight against Bobby instead of running away. AJ strongly argues about this due to the danger, but the majority wins. Later, Lee teaches the group how to make explosives to set straps. They're able to create a frag grenade and Dylan snatches it and throws it to the group. Fortunately, Lee catches it and Easy expresses his distaste towards the man's personality. Cornell notices that Bunny isn't around, so they rush to look for her. However, Bobby's men arrive and capture Bunny. Soon, a brawl among them and AJ's group begins. In the base camp, Bobby spends leisure time with his makeshift radio where he overhears that the picket ship is coming. The next day, Bobby and his men tie up Bunny by the shore. The leader tears her shirt and whips her back, commanding her that his plan should work. Then, they hide as the ship arrives. Unbeknownst to them, the women can see what they're doing even if they don't have a clue about Bobby's plan. Two cops get off the ship and drop the supplies on the shore, but they see Bunny and approach her to release her. Simultaneously, Bobby's man swims to the boat and ends the life of the other cop. He takes the gun and shoots the other officers down while Bunny escapes. Shortly after, Bobby and his men claim all the rifles and the supplies. On the way to the camp, Bobby's man points the gun at him, but the leader shoots him down in anger. Meanwhile, Easy swims to shore unnoticed and uses a poison needle against Bobby's man, who's standing guard. Then, AJ claims the remaining gun while Easy brings some gas from the boat. Eventually, Milford returns, failing to find Bunny. Fortunately, the woman trudges back to the shore and the doctor rushes to her as the two share an embrace. Bunny finally speaks, saying she wants to go home. In the base camp, Monk informs Bobby how they're losing men, but the prideful leader declares that no one's going to win against him. That evening, AJ's group shares a pleasant talk with each other. Lee shares that she's fighting for survival, while Milford tells his past. He explains that he had a patient who was only alive through life support, and the wife gave the consent to turn it off, but the patient's father disagreed and filed a case against the doctor. Unfortunately, his colleagues testified against him, and he ends up on the island, so he won't ever return. The following day, the group goes to the base camp to materialize their plan. Dylan, Joy, and Bunny sneakily go to the trough that runs down to the bunker. Dylan sets up the cans of gasoline onto the trough, while Joy instructs Bunny that once she sees them wave the red cloth, she has to open the cans and ignite the gasoline. However, Dylan openly expresses his skepticism towards the woman's capabilities, while Joy declares they don't have a choice. AJ's group begins their attack by throwing their explosives into the huts. Gunshots welcome them from Bobby's side, but the banished men are resilient as they fight the majority of the island's inhabitants. Bobby, who's taking cover in the bunker, shoots many of his enemies, including Cornell. Due to the turn of events, AJ's group retreats and takes cover. Carmen asks Cornell's whereabouts and AJ explains he's gone. With 2 grenades left, Lee courageously grabs one and runs toward the base camp, while Bobby fires at her. She throws the grenade onto Monk's hut and runs back. However, Bobby shoots her down. Monk, whose leg is injured due to the explosion, crawls to the leader's bunker to take cover. Then, Joy waves the red cloth frantically to signal Bunny, but she remains unresponsive. Frustrated, Dylan runs towards her to do the task, but Bobby shoots him. Bunny sees Dylan fall and runs to his aid, but she gets hit by a bullet and collapses. Easy heads to the trough, but AJ tackles him down, so Milford rushes to complete the mission. Unaware that gasoline is pouring from the trough to the bunker, Bobby resumes shooting his enemies. Once the gasoline cans are empty, Milford ignites it and heads towards Bunny. Bobby and Monk notice too late that the gasoline flows towards them. The two push each other aside to open the door and escape. but the explosion occurs. Caught on fire, Bobby runs out blazing and collapses. On the other hand, AJ approaches Monk, who survived the blast. But when he's about to shoot him, he discovers that the right-hand man turned blind due to the explosion. Therefore, he lets him live. Soon after, life changes drastically in Terminal Island, as AJ's group leads them all to a more peaceful life. Monk does a share of work with Bunny guiding him since he lost his sight, while Joy and Easy expect a baby. Bunny approaches Milford and instructs him to follow her. They arrive at the beach to see the cops transporting a newcomer. One of the cops summons Dr. Milford to return to the mainland as the governor grants him a retrial. However, Milford yells back that the person they're looking for is gone. Then, he stares at Bunny and tells her he isn't going back because this is his home. Now, afterward, they welcome the newcomer, Dana, warmly.